Hello, everybody. How are you doing today? My name is Tony Rosano, and this is Online Marketing Moves. This is episode 146 of the universally loved Hard Hitting Podcast. We are coming to you live from the great state of Indiana. If you ever want to go to McDonald's, Famous Days, or see cornfields, Indiana is the place for you, ladies and gentlemen, okay? With that being said, this episode of the podcast, we're going to have two segments. One is going to be about listening to your audience, and the other one you will find out in the second segment, okay? That is a terrible tease, but it's a tease nonetheless, okay? We're a professional broadcaster right here, everybody. We got to figure out these teases and everything, all points in between, all right? Now, let's get into it. Let's get into listening to your audience. I'm talking to you, directly to you. You want to grow your website, you want to grow a YouTube channel, you want to grow a Facebook page, you want to grow Instagram, whatever you want to build, whatever you want to grow, you start off like a train. Choo choo. You pull it out the system. You start creating the content. You start uploading pictures. Whatever you want to do. Whatever you do to create this content. Okay? You start. You get going. You gain some momentum. You start gaining an audience. Of course, you always got the early adapters, the people that jump on board first. And they go, oh, I like this. I like this person. So you get them, and you get more steam. And of course, as we both know, the more popular you get, the more attractive you become to the other people. Not the early adapters, not those people. But you start getting more people. And they're like, you sort of get. I'm not gonna call them sheep, but they kind of have the mentality like, oh, what's that over there? Everybody's doing that. I'll go look. I'll go check it out myself. You get those people, of course. So then now you got an audience. You built an audience. Okay? Let's say we build a nice audience. We're just gonna use a number. Let's say you got 100,000. You got 100,000 subscribers to whatever you're doing. Okay? Now, you do 5 days of content, or you do a weekly show. Okay, we're gonna go for a month. You do 4 different shows. One show does two shows do above average, and one show is like, wow, I got a lot of downloads. Now, the next month, which show should you get rid of? It's very simple, right? You should get rid of maybe you shouldn't do the show. Maybe you should go back and listen to that show, the show that did the least rating, and figure out what happened. And then if you figure out what happened, and if you think maybe I didn't do a good show or whatever, put it on the shelf. But what's the one show you should do again or try again in the near future? Of course, the one that got the most ratings, right? One thing that you have to get into is listening to your audience. People tell you what they want. I know people are like, I'm gonna post this, I wanna post this stuff, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. After a while, when you start, I'm about to repeat myself, but after a while, okay, you first start off, it's like, I just need to come up with content. Let me just do the content, okay? You start doing the content, but after a while, you will gain an audience. Trust me, you just stick with it. You will gain an audience. Then once you gain an audience, you have to start. It's not about what you want to do. It's not about what you want to do. It's about what the audience wants to hear. It's about what does your audience need from you. Don't be one of these people that go, I just do what the F I want to do, and F them. They don't want to listen. They don't want to listen. Don't have that attitude. You won't have a following or a fan base or however you want to call them, whatever you want to call people. herd, flock, whatever. You won't have people listening to you very long if you have that attitude about F them, I do what I want to do. No, after a while, because if you only wanted to do stuff that you wanted to do, you wouldn't put. I wouldn't. I mean, if I just wanted to talk about whatever, then I wouldn't put this on. I wouldn't make this public. You know what I mean? Like, I would just talk in the microphone, then I would just go back and listen to it myself. And I might, I wouldn't share it with a friend. I barely share this podcast with people I know. So, but I'm saying, it's like, I'll tell you an example. It's like a musician. A musician comes out with a CD. They produce the CD. They give the CD. Back in the day, the CD goes out and everything, and it doesn't do well. The first thing a lot of these musicians used to say was, "Oh, I put that out for myself." That's BS. If you put it out for yourself, you would never try to sell it for public consumption. So don't try to say, "Oh, I just do what the F I want to do. I'll put out the content. If they listen, they listen. They don't, they don't." Don't have that attitude. That attitude will get you nowhere. Yes, at the end of the day, you are in charge and you do make the decisions. But I'm not saying you have to bend over and kiss everybody's backside. But you gain an audience, you gain a following, you gain however you want to put it. You have something going. And of course, you want to put out interesting topics, of course. But if somebody says, "Hey," if enough people ask you questions about this, questions about that, then it's like, "Hey, maybe I should do a podcast to help people out." Somebody asked me about this, and let me do a podcast about that. Don't just go, "Oh, F them. I don't want to talk about that. I don't want to talk about that." And if you don't know, do research. You know what I mean? You don't have to be an expert in everything to make a show about it. Just do some research, find out about it, and then you can talk about it. Don't worry. If you do research for your podcast, the stuff won't trap in your brain, and it won't make your brain explode. Okay, you can just read a little bit about it. You can read up on it a little bit, and then take some notes, write some stuff down, and then talk about it, and then you could sort of flush it out of your brain. Because the more you go along, and the bigger the audience gets, you definitely want to start trying to figure out, what they want, what they need. It's just like selling a product. If you have an audience and they say, "I want to learn about," if enough people come to me, in the future, and they say, "I want to learn about affiliate marketing," then I would be a goofball. It would not be smart if I said, "I'm not going to write it. I'm not going to do anything about that. I'm not going to sell a course. I'm not going to sell a book." That would be kind of naive of me, right? Of course it would be. So listen to your audience, and good things will happen. And the more you listen to your audience, now we're not saying butter up the audience. We're just saying listen. Listen to what people need. Listen to what people want. And the more you do that, of course, that's in any relationship. The better listener you are, the further along you will get. In a marriage, in the friendship, in the courtship, team sports. The more you listen, the better off you are, the better of a team you might be. And in business, the more you listen, the better off you are. Listen with both ears open, not just part-time listening. Really listen. Let it sink in, and then go for it, So don't negate your audience, because they will tell you what they are looking for. They will tell you what they need. Okay? Listen. That's the theme of this. That's the theme of this segment. Listen. Okay? And if you ever have any questions, complaints, comments, you can always email me, Tony, at the TheLousydriver.com. You can email me at tony@thelousydriver.com. Okay? If you enjoy the show, if you have any complaints about the show, any subject matter that you want me to talk about, feel free to email me. I will email you back. And also, I would like to get to know my audience more. I mean, I know a couple of members in the audience because, well, one calls me on a regular basis, and the other was my sister-in-law. No, but the rest of you can also contact me as well. So, if anybody has any complaints or comments or, for the show, please just email, because you might not know this or not, but this audience is growing. And of course, before we go to the next segment, before we go to the commercial, it's also good to hear from your audience. So you can always, you want to keep your finger on the pulse of things, the way things are going. Okay, you don't want to, 20 years from now, podcasts might not exist. So what if I'm still doing a podcast, and all my audience, all the people that listen to the show are like, "Hey Tony, they have this cool thing. Why come you're not doing that? Or, how come you're not doing that?" And I go, "I don't know. I'm just still doing these podcasts." And they're like, "I can't get podcasts anymore." So this is why you have to keep your ear out. This is why you have to listen. All right? But now, of course, you're going to listen to this commercial. Anchor is going to tell you why you should start a podcast. Now, your podcast might not be as good as this one, but go ahead and give it a shot. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, listen to the commercial, and we'll be back with the next segment. All right? Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Now, we are going to talk about the lies of social media. No, we're gonna talk about why you shouldn't. Of course, you need social media. Social media helps you grow your channels. It helps. I'm not even gonna cut this out. Social media helps with your business. It helps you with whatever you want to do. Of course, I'm not saying don't use it. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is don't be influenced by social media. There's a difference. Of course, we use it. I mean, every day once I record the podcast, I go to Twitter. I upload the podcast. I put on there, I do the hashtags and do all that. Boom, that's it. I spend 2 or 3 minutes a day on Twitter, okay? I mean, before I even started the podcast, honestly, I never went out. I forget half the time I had a Twitter account. You know what I mean? So, what I'm saying is, use social media, but don't be influenced by it. You see these people with all these posts, because everybody now is the same. Everybody now is the great philosopher. They want to tell you how you shouldn't sleep, or how you should, don't buy this. Instead of buying Jordans, buy stock. Yada 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 yada. All that kind of stuff. Stop it. Don't believe all that jazz. Don't fall for all that jazz. Because it's a lot of hokiness. It's a lot of nonsense. It's a lot of BS. I was talking to a friend a couple weeks ago. He said, I know somebody. He said they went on vacation. He said instead of them just taking a picture, uploading like, "Hey, I'm on vacation." He said they had to take a picture. They had to write this long post. He said, and then I looked at what they were saying, and I remember that that's a quote from like a philosopher or something, because I believe he took a class. And I said, "Really?" And he said, "Yeah." He said, so she just stole the whole thing and uploaded it. Like, "Oh, I got all these deep thoughts." He said, he said, honestly, she's not that a deep thinker. He said, I've talked to her many a times. She doesn't think all that deep, you know. I mean, and there's nothing wrong with that. Some people are not, you know, people sometimes don't think about, I wonder what's going on in, Pakistan, and I don't know if these people are hurt. Everybody doesn't think like that, you know. Everybody's not, and everybody doesn't have the same deep thoughts, you know. Everybody's not like that, you know. But you get these people on social media, and let them tell it. It's just like the people that work out, the fitness people. We'll use that for an example. You got these fitness people, and they like, oh, I drink, I'm using flat tummy tea or whatever, you know. And I'm not saying everybody doesn't work. I'm not saying that. I'm sure people work out, but a lot of these people is BS. They're having surgery. A lot of these people are having like doctoring up pictures. You know, there's a lot of airbrushing going on. There's a lot of Photoshop going on. It's a lot of shenanigans. There's a lot of nonsense. So what I'm here to tell you is, use social media, but don't fall for social media. Okay, it's perfectly fine. You're perfectly fine just the way you are. You know, if you don't. Everybody's not, the 19th century poet, you know what I'm saying? Like, 13th century philosopher, you know. You know what I mean? Like, relax. Like, it's okay. People tell you, you got to work at this business 24 hours a day. No. Do you? Yeah. Some days you're going to work 12 hours on your business or whatever you want to do. Some days you're going to work 4 hours. That's okay. Some days it's going to be 30 minutes. And you're going to be like, you know what? I just need a break. And sometimes if you're just sitting there, like I know they like to say, 24 hours in a day, you can do, 8 hours of sleep. The other 16 hours, what are you going to do? Hey, let me tell you something. If you watch a 10-minute clip of something that makes you laugh or makes you chuckle, that's fine. It's okay, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, If you take an hour out of your time sometimes just to do nothing, that's okay, that's fine. You're still going to get done with what you need to get done, trust me, okay? It's you have my permission, if you some days I know like some days I work, I do this, I do that, and then whenever I'm eating sometimes I'm like, should I listen to one of my audiobooks or should I just watch some crap for 10 minutes? And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to watch purity crap for 10 minutes. And I'm going to watch something I want to watch, something that, doesn't relate to anything. And then I'll take 10 minutes. And then you know what? Now, sometimes I watch that stuff and I'm like, oh, this is nonsense. But you know what? I could use this nonsense too. So I actually find myself writing this down these days. So, don't think just because you're watching something that people might deem nonsense is, you can't use it, All right? So don't worry about people, and don't worry about the social media. Don't worry about them, Don't worry about people yelling about, if you spend money, if you buy a $150 pair of Jordans, you're gonna be broke in 10, 20 years. Don't worry about that. You can buy the shoes. It's okay. If you want to buy the shoes, it's perfectly fine. People are wild. You know what I mean? So people get a little carried away with the whole social media, the influence. Don't fall for the social media influence. You be your own influencer, okay? Influence yourself. Don't worry about anybody else. It's perfectly fine, it boggles me how people are just, they go on these vacations and, it's like, go on vacation. It's perfectly fine, go on vacation, but say the BS about, oh, I'm out here and I'm out here in the water and I'm thinking, you know, the water runs deep and that's my life. It's deep. Blah, blah, blah. I just shake my head sometimes. I shake my head when I'm, you know, I just shake my head sometimes. Because sometimes actually, because, you know, believe it or not, I was like, I'm going to go, because my friend told me this, and then, of course, he told me to go look at the person's page. So I went and looked, and I was like, oh, boy. And then I went and looked at some more people, and I was like, oh, boy. And I was like, oh, Jesus. And people were like, yes, I know that kind of energy. Ooh. And I was like, you got to be kidding me, man. Wake up, people, okay? But, yeah, so use social media, but don't let social media use you, all right? That's the whole gist of this segment. But anyway, that's it for today. That's it for the podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. I know you did. As I probably said in the beginning of the podcast, go on, rate, and subscribe this podcast. Give us 5 stars. Tell everybody that this is the... I was about to say, tell everybody this is the greatest podcast you ever heard in your life. But anyway, just go to wherever you stream your podcast and rate us 5 stars. And also, go to the YouTube channel, click and subscribe. We are uploading podcasts on a regular basis, and we will be shooting videos soon. I got my Canon M50 ready to make these lovely videos, you know. But that's it for now. We'll be back tomorrow. We got the rest of the week's topics all lined up, and we are ready to go. We'll be rocking and rolling every day here on Online Marketing Moves. My name is Tony Rizzano. Thanks for your time, and we will talk to you tomorrow. And as always, everybody, say it with me, everybody. Let's all join in. Everybody join in. Oh. Okay. Still rated 5 stars. Don't worry about that. Everybody join in. And as always, everybody, peace.